Hello everybody, welcome to our Unitive Inquiry lesson. Today we are going to continue our talk about animals and their habitats. Habitats, if you remember, is where the animal lives. An animal, in order to live somewhere, an animal has to be able to find food, water, and they have to be safe there. They have to be safe there. And the animals earlier, last term, we talked about the different parts of animals. And this is going to be very important for what we're going to talk about today, because today we're going to talk about adaptations in animals. An adaptation is a change that an animal has, and people have them too. A change that animals have that help them survive. So changes in how they look in their body that help them survive in their habitat, or a change in how they act, what they do to help them survive in their habitat. Okay, so adaptations are changes that happen in animals to help them survive. And it's also in plants. I should mention we're going to talk only about animals, but plants also adapt to survive in their habitat. The first thing to think about for adaptations is, do all animals look the same? There's a very easy answer to that one. No, they don't. Some animals have fur. Some animals have hair. Did I say fur? Some animals have feathers. Some animals swim in water. Some animals have 4 legs. Some animals have 2 legs. Some animals run. Some animals hop. There are all kinds of difference in animals. And all these differences are adaptations. They are changes to help them live, survive in their habitat. All right. Now, we've just watched a story called How Tiger Got His Stripes. Now, the story went through and explained how Tiger got the black stripes on its fur. All right. Now, the story, is it a real story? No. It's a made-up story to help explain something that people see in nature. There's lots and lots of stories like that. You guys are going to watch another one. Yes, about elephant, how elephant got a trunk. So there's a story made up about that one. And I think I have another one about raven, how the sun got in the sky. Lots of stories try to explain things that happen in nature. But the real answer is, why do tigers have these stripes? At the end of the story, do you remember the tiger was always slinking around in the grass? The real reason that tiger has these stripes is the tiger's fur. The tiger adapted itself so it could hide better in the grass, so it could help him find food to help survive in its habitat. So its habitat has lots of tall grass, and so it adapted. It changed its body appearance so that it changed how it looked so that it could hide in the grass much easier. Okay, now we're going to look at some pictures right now of different animals that live in different habitats, and they have different adaptations, different changes to their bodies to help them survive in their habitat. So now, my first question for you is, what animal is this? It's a shark. It's a shark. Now, what habitat does a shark live in? Shark lives in the ocean, in the sea, in salt water. All right. Now, we look closely. I'll put it a little bit closer here. Now, the adaptation. There's a couple different adaptations on this shark. The first one I want to point out is look how pointy this shark is. That is an adaptation to help the shark swim very, very fast. Now, how would swimming very, very fast help the shark survive in its habitat? Well, if the shark is able to swim fast, the shark will be able to catch fish much easier. If the shark can swim faster than the fish, then the shark can get food, and food will help it survive in its habitat. Another change that sharks have are right here. They're called gills. Now, do sharks breathe air? No, sharks don't breathe air. There are some animals that live in the sea that do breathe air. Whales and dolphins, for example. But sharks get their oxygen from the water. They bring water in their mouth and then they shoot it out of the gills. And when it goes through the gills, it takes oxygen out of the water, and that's how they breathe. That's how all fish breathe. But this is an adaptation that helps the shark survive in its environment, in its habitat. All right. Another one. Do sharks have legs? No, they don't have legs. Do they need legs? No, they don't need legs in water. What are they going to run through the water? No. So what they have instead are fins. They have fins that help them swim because that's what they're in water. So they don't need legs to walk. They need something to help them swim. So they have adapted to become good swimmers using their fins and how pointy they are. Okay, so that is an example of a shark adapting to adapting its body to live in its environment, in its habitat, which is a marine environment. Now, who can tell me what this animal is? It's a very famous animal. It's a very famous animal and very beautiful. This is a flamingo. They're called flamingos. Now, flamingos, where do they live? Well, they live near water. That's one thing, because the food they eat comes from the water. All right? So, when they're in the water, in order to be able to find food so they can survive in their habitat, the adaptations they've come up with is they have long legs so they can walk through the water. If the water is very little, they can walk through it. Also, if the water gets pretty deep, they can still walk through it because they have long legs. So that helps them to be able to get to where the food is in their habitat. Another adaptation is they have very long necks. See this neck right there? So they are able to reach all the way down, put their beaks underneath the water, and eat and find their food that way. Okay, so that is two different adaptations that they have, their legs and their neck. One other adaptation I wish I could show you a little better is the shape of their beak. The shape of their beak is a little bit curved so that they can catch food in it, and that helps them eat. All right, so there's some adaptations that flamingos have that makes flamingos look unique. They have long legs, long neck, and they have their beak is curved to help catch their food in it. So those are some adaptations of the flamingo. That's a bird they live in like wetlands, wetland area. Now, here's another, this is a famous one. They're all famous. Everyone knows what this animal is, right? It's a giraffe. Now, a giraffe eats leaves, and these leaves come from trees. And these trees are very tall. All right, so look where they live. There's not any short trees. There's maybe some bushy things. I don't know what those are. Trees back here in the background. You can see a tree here, a tree here. So these trees are very tall. And in order to get them, the giraffe's body has adapted to help it eat from these trees. Just like the flamingo, it has very long legs, because the giraffe needs to be tall to get up to the top of these trees in the leaves. The giraffe also, another adaptation, has a super long neck. A super long neck, so they can reach all the way up to the top of the trees. Now, you think, okay, great, that's it. They have one more amazing adaptation, and that is their tongue. Their tongue is got to be like this long. It is huge. And it's also purple. I don't know why it's purple. But their tongue is very long, and it reaches up, and it grabs the leaves and pulls them off and into their mouth. So their tongue kind of acts like a hand, grabbing off the leaves and putting it in its mouth. The tongue reaches out, grabs. So that is something that helps. Those are three things that help giraffes survive in their habitat. in the habitat because they have tall trees in there and they need to be able to reach them to eat. So the adaptations of long legs, long neck, and a long tongue that can grab things are 3 adaptations that help giraffes survive in their habitat. Now, should I do one more? Oh, everyone knows this animal. Look at those cuties. We've probably seen this picture before. This is a koala. This is a koala, one of the most famous animals in Australia. Now, what is the habitat that a koala lives in? Koalas live in eucalyptus forests. They do that because the only thing they eat are eucalyptus leaves. So their habitat is a eucalyptus forest. That's how they get their food. That's how they get their water and safety. They live up in the trees, away from any other animals that might want to kill them. Like the dingo. I think the dingo is a predator. So now, what adaptations do koalas have that help them to survive in their habitat? One of them is, on our hand, we have 4 fingers here and 1 thumb here. So if we want to hold on to something, we put our finger and thumb around it. Now, the koala, since it spends so much time climbing in the trees, it actually has changed its adaptation. One of its adaptations is that it has 3 fingers on one side and 2 on the other. So one of these fingers has moved over here so that then they have 3 and 2, so they can hold on to the trees better so that they do not fall. Okay, so that's one adaptation. Another adaptation would be, look at those claws. See those claws? Very long claws. You know why? So they can attach to the tree so that the koala does not fall out. It would not survive if it fell out of a tree. That would be a long fall. All right. Another weird adaptation that they have is that their bum is much tougher, so that they can sit on it a lot more. So they sit in a tree, and then they'll just sit right here in the middle. So they have this very tough skin on their bum that helps them sit safely in the tree, so it doesn't hurt. Because sitting on a tree all day sounds like it might hurt. So those are 3 adaptations that a koala has to survive in its habitat. Okay? Now, what we're going to do right now is I want you to choose an animal. Any animal you want. But we're thinking about adaptations. We're thinking about adaptations. And we're going to draw a picture. We're going to draw a picture of our animal, and we're going to show what the adaptation is to help it survive. Okay? So think of any animal that you want. Remember, it could be an adaptation in how the animal looks, or it could be an adaptation in how the animal acts, what it does. So I'm going to draw 2 pictures. I'm going to do one for looks, but you only have to choose one animal, but I'm going to show you. So this is changes in their appearance and how they look, and this is a change in how they act. So I'm going to do one for each. Now, the animal I'm thinking about for a change for how they act. Now, forgive me, I'm not the best artist. This animal has a very long tail, and it's a very skinny. Okay, so now my animal, I'll tell you right now, is a cheetah. They have those little tear things that look out of their eyes, and they have spots. Now, what adaptation does a cheetah have in how they act? What do they do? Well, I'm going to do this. I'll show you. A cheetah is very, very fast. So the adaptation that a cheetah has is a cheetah is very, very, very fast. Why? It is fast to catch food. Oh, that's an F right there. All right. So the adaptations, the cheetah's adaptation, it is fast to catch food. Okay. So that's a change in how the cheetah acts, and a change in what the cheetah does. All right. Now a change in how they look. What animal could I do here? Let's see. See if anyone can guess what this is. Yes, my animal is a turtle. I drew a smile on it. It's a happy turtle. Now turtles are very, very slow. So that's a problem. That's a problem if you need to get away from another animal so it doesn't eat you. So the turtle has a shell. The adaptation a turtle has to help it survive in its habitat is it has a shell to protect it from animals from eating it. So it has a shell to protect it from being eaten. Okay? So your job right now is to do exactly what I have done right here. You're going to, I'm just going to turn this, I'll leave the turtle so we can see the turtle. You're going to first think up an animal, and then you're going to think, okay, what adaptations does this animal have to help it survive in its habitat? Okay, so you're going to draw your animal, then you're going to put a little line, you're going to show what the adaptation is that you're talking about, and then you're going to write what the adaptation is. It has a shell, in the case of a turtle, or it can run very fast in the case of the cheetah. All right, and then I want you to write, how does that help them? How does their adaptation help them survive in their environment? How does it help them find food? How does it help keep them safe? Maybe we could think about a lion's claws. How does it help keep them safe? It scares away other animals, or if they have to fight another animal, they can. Okay, so that is your job. Think of an animal. What adaptations does it have to help it survive in its habitat, in its environment, and write down what it is and tell how it helps them. Okay? All right. Off you go.